Hi there. I'm Christopher Natsume, and I want to talk to you a little bit about something I said on LinkedIn. Specifically, what I said on LinkedIn is NFTs are a pure scam, blockchain gaming is a pyramid scheme, and play to earn is not only a scam, it's deeply immoral. Now, when I posted that, I had a few people that agreed, a few people disagreed. Um, a couple people asked me to elaborate. And I started to write something to elaborate, and I realized when I started it that it was more than I wanted to write, and I don't have time or energy for that. So I thought I would do a quick video response and walk through my rationale for this because this is important to me. And I want to explain why it's important to me. I've been making games now since 1992. I have made strategy games, casual games. I've made first-person shooters. I've made, I don't even know what I've made. I stopped counting somewhere around 50 games. And it's very likely you've played games that I've been involved with, whether you play casual games like Awakening or whatever, you play first-person shooters like Far Cry. I've been involved in a lot of stuff. And I have always been in the game industry for one simple reason. I love games. I think that what we do at our highest, brightest moments is to bring a level of interaction and joy and fun and community to the world that is difficult to find in any other form of entertainment. At our brightest moments, games can be a wonderful, beautiful force for good. And I have cherished my time in the industry being part of a community that makes these wonderful things. That's why I'm here. And what I have seen in the last 2 years is one of the most cynical, painful, destructive attacks on our industry that I have seen in decades of working in video games. And it started with free to play, but it is what is happening now in this crazy NFT blockchain play to earn bullshit is so destructive that I think it may actually do permanent, irreparable damage to our industry. And it is time for somebody to say no. So let me explain this in a little bit more detail. And I don't know what everyone's experience is coming into this with blockchain or NFTs or play to earn or whatever. So if I'll start from the very beginning. What's an NFT? So an NFT is essentially an object that sits on the blockchain, and it's a permanent object. And it has what is called a smart contract. And what a smart contract is, it's a fancy word. And there's a lot of fancy words in this that techno people have made to make this seem more obfuscated than it really is. It's basically just a little snippet of code. And that little snippet of code could be something as tiny as a link to an image on the internet, which is what a lot of NFTs are. If you've thought about the NFT art world and all of these, I own a meme cat or whatever, that's essentially what that is. It's a little link to it. And that's a whole grift and a whole scam that I'm not going to get into. It is a grift and it is a scam, but that's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is specifically where this intersects with gaming. And where it intersects with gaming is the idea that we can take that smart contract and create a permanent in-game item. That's what everyone's pushing right now. So why would we do that? So the ostensible problem that we're trying to solve is, let's pretend I play World of Warcraft, game everybody knows. And in playing World of Warcraft, I'm going to invest a lot of time and energy and, however much a monthly subscription rate is in money, into generating objects in World of Warcraft. I'm going to kill creatures and they're going to drop swords, and I'm going to sell those swords and get gold and buy the armor that I want and blah, blah, blah. And instead of seeing that as, a spent cost and the cost of playing games, people want to see that as an investment, as though I were buying something of value. And they're concerned that at some point in the process, Blizzard, which I guess is Microsoft now, is going to shut off the servers. And when they shut off the servers, I'm going to lose my investment. All that time and energy that I spent in generating armor or whatever in World of Warcraft is all lost because that all goes away because the server has turned it off. Or perhaps instead of that, I was playing the game and I wasn't excited by it anymore. I didn't enjoy it anymore. I wanted to move to another game. And I want to bring my investment of time and energy into another game with me. And the idea is that we can do that through the use of NFTs. So if we look at those items in a game, a sword, a piece of armor, a mount that I might ride, and instead of making it a ledger entry on a database at Microsoft, it becomes an item on the chain. And I say, okay, I got this piece of armor, which means you're going to generate an NFT. That NFT belongs to me and it exists outside of the game. So if you shut down your game, I still have my NFT. I still have this thing that has a value. And I can take it to somebody else's game, or I can, do whatever. Anyone who wants to make an opportunity for me to use my NFT, I can then use that NFT on whatever that opportunity somebody outside of World of Warcraft has created. I want to be clear at this point that World of Warcraft doesn't do this. I'm just using that as an example because everyone knows that game. World of Warcraft still operates under a subscription model and has nothing at this point to do with NFTs. So this thing that they want to do, just from the very basic level, is unworkable and undoable. And I'll explain why. I've been a game designer for decades. And I have created economies, and I have built worlds, and and I'm telling you from that experience, the idea that you can take an item, let's say the helmet of Nor from World of Warcraft. I don't think there is such a thing, but pretend there's a helmet of Nor, and you win the helmet of Nor, and you say, I don't want to play World of Warcraft anymore. I'm going to take my helmet of Nor into your game, and I'm going to use it in your game. Well, here's the problem. My game is a film noir thriller set in 1950s Los Angeles. What the fuck are you going to do with this helmet? Well, this helmet in World of Warcraft gave me +1 to my strength. And also it increased the drop of red potions when I killed orcs. Okay, my film noir game doesn't have +1. We don't have armor. Oh, we don't have orcs. And we don't have red potions. So what does any of that do? It doesn't do anything, right? It's meaningless in my game. So I can't accept your object, right? It has no... And let's even assume for a moment that it was another fantasy game. It wasn't World of Warcraft. It was World of Boarcraft. And I made everything so similar that you can bring your helmet in here and we have exactly the same stats or whatever. I still don't know if everything that you do technically with it matches up. Do I have a helmet that looks like that in my game? Because somebody would have had to make that, because the smart contract is not big enough to hold the data files that would have the animations and the art and the whatever. That can't come with the object. That has to actually exist in the game that I bring the object into. And I don't know if I've built that or if I haven't built that. And I don't know how many bugs are generated when you're trying to bring stuff into my game that I didn't even know existed because it was made in somebody else's game. Blah, blah. It's unworkable. The whole thing is absolutely unworkable. Let's say it was, though. Let's say somehow you sorted out all of those millions of problems and you created a system where you could bring that stuff back and forth. I have created economies in video games, from MMOs to very small games, and even in the smallest, simplest of games, an economy that has no outside influence, that does not allow bringing objects in from other places. It's a purely contained economy, is a very fragile thing. And just through player actions, you can actually break that economy very easily. There are people that do nothing in game companies but manage and nurture those economies to make sure that they remain fun and interesting and that they'll ramp up and blah, 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 blah. To introduce the idea that you could just drop a bunch of random shit into that anytime you wanted from games that you may not even know exist, and it's all just gonna magically work. That is the kind of bullshit that comes from somebody who has never made a video game in their life. It's not physically possible. It's not doable, right? This whole thing is unworkable, right? Let's pretend it was. Let's pretend that those problems, which are very real and insurmountable, don't exist. And you can just randomly bring crap into my game. And it all works. And the balance is perfect. And it's all great. Even then, it's totally unworkable. And I'll tell you why. Let's say you create a game and you've got objects that you can trade and everything's going great in your game. And some guy is playing this game over there that you had nothing to do with, made by an entirely different studio, but is using whatever the same, you've linked your currencies and blah, blah, blah. It's all works, right? And they get sick of playing that game. He comes over to your game with his $2,000 worth of whale shit. He's got all of his, great big huge helmets and armor and whatever. He's pimped out to the max. And he comes into your game and he's never given you a dime. And he starts raging through your game. He's, everyone who starts your game with nothing, they got to fight this dude or interact with this dude or compete with this dude who's got all this crap that they never paid you a dime for, right? Why would you want that? What is good about that? It's even worse than that. If it just stopped there, it would be bad enough. But it gets even worse because that person can now come into your game and start selling stuff. Start randomly selling whatever the hell he wants. And he can undercut you because you, when you're selling stuff from your studio, you're taking that money and paying artists and designers and programmers and studio music. I just hit my guitar. Studio musicians and all kinds of other people. All those people got to get paid. That's what you're doing with the money you earn from this guy. What's this guy doing with the money that he nothing. He's played a game for a while and now he's got a bunch of accumulated wealth that he can just spread out. You want to charge $5 for the Sword of the Sun? Well, he can charge $4 for the Sword of the Sun and he keeps the $4 and your $5 has to go to pay people. It's unworkable, right? It's absolutely unworkable. So let's pretend all that wasn't true. And it is, right? All of that is untrue. I should be able to right now just stop and say, do you get it? Do you get that this is unworkable? I should be able to just stop right now and say this whole thing that you want to do with blockchain gaming, it has been bullshit from the beginning. It is bullshit now, and it will be bullshit 2 years from now. It is a mountain of bullshit that goes all the way to the bottom, right? And what blows my mind, what I cannot understand, is there are people with MBAs, there are venture capital companies, there are people who understand how economics work that somehow think that this makes sense. It is an investable opportunity. It's as though we said to you, you're going to go to McDonald's, and every time you go to McDonald's and eat a burger, you're going to get burger points. And every time you get those burger points from McDonald's, you can add them all up, and at some point, you can just come to McDonald's and say, I'm done. I'm done paying for burgers. I paid for 2 years for my burgers. I'm all done paying for burgers. Now you just got to give me free burgers because I got enough burger points. Not only that, I can take my burger points because I earned them here. I built value, even though what I was actually doing was consuming entertainment. I've built value through my bullshit burger points. And so now I could take my bullshit burger points over to Wendy's or Taco Bell or Burger King. And I can say to them, I already paid. I paid over at McDonald's. I paid for 2 years of burgers. It's not fair to ask me to pay for burgers here at Burger King, despite the fact that you've never given Burger King a dime. Heck, not only can I get my free burgers at Burger King, I can go down to the auto parts store, get a brand new clutch for my Subaru because it's all supposed to be fucking interchangeable and obfuscated. So how the hell does AutoZone pay for its Subaru parts? Where does that money come from? And anybody with 10 seconds of sense knows that this is all bullshit, but we still talk about it like it's something real. We have conventions called blockchain conventions. We have blockchain gaming threads at conventions. We have a whole industry. There are businesses with hundreds of billions, millions of dollars invested in them because somehow this enormous, obviously fake scam is somehow real. I should be able to stop here and say, are we done now? But it gets worse. The pyramid scheme actually gets worse. And here's where it turns from being a ridiculous bullshit pyramid scheme that I can't believe anyone is still buying into something genuinely dystopian and evil. And that is PlaytoEarn. So what's PlaytoEarn? Well, in its simplest form, and again, I expect many comments of people telling me, Chris, you just don't understand. Yes, I understand. But I know that people are going to say that my description of PlaytoEarn is too simplified. It is simplified because I don't have 4 hours to talk you through all the details of this. The short version of it is, the scam is, games include scarcity. This is not new. This is something games have always had, right? If you play through any game, the reason it's fun is because you don't immediately get everything. You have to work to get things. If you play World of Warcraft again, you have to go fight the monsters. And when the monsters die, they drop stuff, and that stuff you sell to go get better stuff so that you can fight better monsters so that they can drop better stuff ad infinitum. That scarcity is the heart of a lot of game development. It's not all game development. It's the heart of a whole lot of game design. Even Minecraft, you have to go and mine your little blocks so that you have those blocks so that you can build. That scarcity is a part of a lot of game design, and it's not a bad thing. It's a reasonable, fun thing. And for the record, if you want to, as an aside, cure somebody of their World of Warcraft addiction, what you can do is set up a private server and remove the scarcity. Remove all the scarcity, let them have whatever they want, go wherever they want, say whatever, they can fight every monster with all the best weapons. After a couple hours of this, they realize there's no point to it and they quit. That's how you cure somebody of a World of Warcraft addiction, if you know anyone who has one. This scarcity is critical to our game development. But the key part of this is The scarcity is fun. We play World of Warcraft because fighting those monsters and exploring new places and getting these new items is an enjoyable experience. We don't see that scarcity as something that stands between me and the thing that I want. It's something that is fun in itself. And we know that because if we remove the scarcity, the game becomes much, much less fun. That scarcity is the fun. And that's fine. That's the way games are made. God bless it. What we've done is we've said, how about a new model? And the new model in PlaytoEarn, and I'll give you a very concrete example. The most common, the game everyone talks about being the great big PlaytoEarn success is a game called Axie. And in that game, you have these little critters, and these little critters fight. It doesn't matter how. The important bit is that the critters are NFTs, and they are each individual original items, and you could take those original items and sell them on the open market on the chain. And so when you earn one of these critters, it has a value to you. Now, the way that we generate that value is through a synthetic scarcity that we have created. And to make a new, I think they're called Axies, to make one of these critters, you have to go earn smooth love potions, which, okay, well, we're just going to leave that where it is. It's creepy and weird, but whatever. So you go earn these smooth love potions, which are, they're a fungible item. They're something that have no unique individuality. And you build up a bunch of those. And when you have enough of those, you can generate a new critter, a new NFT. And now that critter is something that you can take to the blockchain and sell because it has value. And the value is created through you having to grind to get that thing, for you having to grind to make that thing better. So it is critical to this model that grind, because we have real money at the end, by the way. That's the critical bit of this. Because there's a real money cash out at the end, it's critical that grind not be fun. And the reason for that is we need somebody to pay for that thing at the end. And the reason they're paying for that thing at the end is because they have more money than they have time, and they don't want to trade all of their time to do the grind to get the thing. They're happier paying the money. And that only makes sense if the grind itself isn't actually fun. And so we now have a scam in place. The scam gets deeper, by the way, because to start that grinding, to start earning your smooth love potions, you have to basically make an initial commitment of money. You have to make a stake. And that initial commitment of money is not insubstantial. It's well over $100. And so you could kind of think of that as, when you join Amway, you have to buy your first box of Amway products or your first box of Herbalife, right? So now you're committed to this thing because you bought it. Now you're invested. And now once you're invested, you can start earning smooth love potions, and you can eventually, theoretically, generate NFTs that you can go sell on the open market, which may or may not sell for a great deal of money. That's the scam, right? That's a pretty dystopian scam. But when you think about it, and it gets a little deeper, where it really gets dark for me, the part that really upsets me, is that we're couching this in the language of this being an opportunity for people, that they can finally generate wealth through gameplay, that we've finally managed to monetize you enjoying your time. And there is a whole argument to be made that I'm not going to make right now about, oh my God, why are we monetizing every single thing we do in our lives? And why does me having a hobby or enjoying myself have to generate income? The whole gig economy, that's a whole nother discussion that we could have. And there's a lot of evil in that. But that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is most people know this isn't going to make a lot of money. And so who is doing this grinding? Who is going out and generating this wealth? Well, it's people from developing countries. It's people from places like India, Indonesia, the Philippines, right? And it's that way because if you tell someone who, lives in Los Angeles or Chicago that they can earn maybe, if they're lucky, $500 a month playing a game that's absolutely no fun for 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, that person will tell you to go put your head in the sand. But if you go to Indonesia or the Philippines and tell somebody who is really struggling to make $500 a month that that is a possible option, for them that looks pretty good. But here's the problem. That person doesn't have the $100, $200, whatever it is to make their initial stake, not to mention the computer and the internet and all the stuff that you have to make there's a pretty serious initial investment here, right? And so what they've done, and this is so dystopian, I can't believe it even exists. They've created scholarships. And what is what did they even use this word? Okay. The idea of a scholarship is basically somebody's going to front you some of the money and they're going to take a whole huge hunk, maybe half of whatever you make out of this, because they fronted you the money for this fake, unnecessary original purchase that you had to make to make your stake in the game. Plus, and of course they're not paying for your equipment or your internet connection or anything like that. You're on the hook for all that. And so you have these people that they're already throwing away half of whatever it is they're going to make on this thing so that somebody will front them a bunch of money that only needs to be paid because Axie's decided to make it unnecessarily difficult to start, because that's part of the grift. It's already dystopian as hell. But then to say to people that by doing this, we are creating opportunity for people in the developing world. Come on. That's not just dark. That's fucking evil. This is not opportunity in any meaningful sense of the word, right? If I took a bunch of bricks and dumped them in my front yard and I said to you, okay, you can pay me $100, or if you don't have $100, I'll give you $100 that you can now earn back out at half the rate. You get a point every time you take a brick from that side of my yard to that side of my yard. And you can accumulate brick points. And at some point when you get enough brick points, you get to lucky dip and find out whether or not your brick points generate you money. May or may not generate you money, because that's a lucky dip. We don't know how that works, but you might earn some money from your brick points. But what you know definitely is you're going to spend 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, moving bricks from here to there. And when they're all moved from here to there, they're going to move from here to there. And you're going to generate no value to yourself, no value to anyone. You're not going to generate any job skills. You're not going to create anything that anybody wants. All you're going to do is grind through this artificial, synthetic bullshit grind that we have created purely for the purposes of making it hard so that people in the developing world are willing to do it, but people in the developed world are willing to pay their way through it because they got better shit to do with their time. That's dark. I don't know how to explain how dark that is, but to call that opportunity, right? That's like Nike putting up ads that their 50 cent an hour shoe sweatshops in Vietnam are creating opportunity. But it's even worse, because at least the Nike sweatshops make shoes and we can wear shoes. There's literally nothing of any value being created in this. They're literally spending their entire lives wasting their opportunity, wasting time that they could be spending learning a real trade or learning real skills or going to college or working at a job that produces goods or services that somebody might possibly want, or even just sitting in their room playing a game that was fun. Instead of doing any of that, we are burning their lives. We are burning the hour. And these are people with families and hopes and dreams and children and parents, and they're real humans, for fuck's sake. And they are burning their lives doing nothing of any value to themselves or anyone else so that they can create a false scarcity so that people somewhere else in the world can say that this thing, which has no intrinsic value, it has some value so that they can sell it to some sucker down the road that doesn't know any better. That's what play to earn is. And anyone who tells you that's not fucked up, you need to question what kind of morality that person has. It's wrong. It's wrong from top to bottom. It is a bullshit system grafted on to another bullshit system. And it's destroying our industry. It's destroying our industry because it's making us look bad. It's changing what games are. It's changing what people are doing in games. And most importantly, it's changing who is investing in games and where. It is difficult to go out and get funding that doesn't include some of this bullshit, because every VC in the world thinks that they can pump and dump this bullshit in the next 2 years and turn around some great big profit. And none of these people, none of them, top to bottom, give a fuck about making good, entertaining games, creating anything of value, bringing any beauty into the world. None of that shit matters. So yeah, that's how I feel about this. And I know that this is the Jerry Maguire of videos. I will be unemployable at a number of game companies. I will be unemployable at any VC company. I have burned so many bridges in pointing to the naked emperor and saying that emperor is not only naked, he is standing in front of you and pissing in your face and laughing because this is so patently bullshit. By telling you this openly, there are a lot of people who will never let me work with them again. That's a fact. And you know what? I'm fucking okay with that because I'm not doing this shit. It's destroying my industry. It's destroying your industry. And you shouldn't be doing it either. Because in my mind, there are only three kinds of people that are involved in this. One, people who are just genuinely confused and haven't understood this and don't know what they're doing. And they somehow believe that this is good. It's not. And you need to go educate yourself. Not just this video. There's plenty of people who know about this shit that are excited to tell you how bullshit all of this is. Please go listen to some of them and get yourself educated. Type 2, people who genuinely understand that this is all bullshit and they are willfully creating smoke and mirrors because they are genuinely bad, deceitful people, and they think that they can take advantage of our industry and the people in this industry, and they don't care about any of it. They'll burn it all to the ground. They don't care because they think they can pump and dump this and get some money out of it in the next year or two and go cash out. And you know what? To all of those people, fuck you, get out of my industry. But there's a third kind, and there's a third kind that I'm really talking to in this video. And those are people that and you're probably one of those people. You're thinking to yourself, I had so many people explain this to me and it just doesn't make sense. That's because it doesn't make sense, right? And you keep saying, but all of these smart people, they're telling me this is all good and I trust them and I know them and it's got to be okay. No, those people are either deluded or dishonest. One of those two, or they're like you. They've got this incredible fear of missing out. They see all of these venture capital investments. They see Animoca makes all this money. They see, oh, look, here's every day on LinkedIn. There's another look at my blockchain conference. Look at my blockchain this. Oh, here's 10 ways you're missing out and not being in blockchain and blah, 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 blah. In 2 years, this shit will all be gone. Trust me. And right now, your fear that you're going to miss out on this great opportunity, I'm telling you, it's not a great opportunity. And not only is it not a great opportunity, you're doing real, possibly irreparable damage to an industry that I love very deeply. And I would like you to cut it the fuck out. So yeah, I'm done. I'm sure people are going to have comments about this. I'm sure a lot of it will be people telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. Great, have at it. You're not going to convince me otherwise. I do know what I'm talking about. Some of you will be supportive of this, and a lot of you probably won't comment at all, but you'll put me on the list of people that you're never going to hire again because you still think that this bullshit is real. I wish the best of you. I hope you get out of this without too much damage done to you or the industry that you're in. But honestly, I think this isn't going to end well for a lot of people. And I think if you got out now, it'd be best for you. So that's it. Comments below. Thank you very much.